Welcome to a busy day in real estate. I'm Evan Saint-Gerard, your host. And when I say it's busy, I mean it's really busy. It's the brand new year. This is the first seminar webinar that we're doing of this time. And I want to introduce our guest today. So, Anthony.
My name's Anthony Curcio. I'm a real estate attorney, managing member of Curcio Law. We do all aspects of real estate from sales, purchases, leasing, and financing.
And next but not least, we have David.
Dave Goldklang. I'm a residential mortgage banker with Citizens Bank. Purchases, refinances, all 50 states.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for agreeing to do this. We didn't really have a script for this, so we just wanted to just go free flow. Obviously, we're all busy. We're in the office. Obviously, things are happening really quickly in 2025. So we figured let's jump on this format and just answer some questions that buyers normally have at this place. So I'm going to ask you both pretty much to start a new year. What are you seeing right now on your either side of in the process right now when it comes to purchasing? I'll start with you, Anthony.
This week, I've had about 3 or 4 first-time home buyers come up to me needing representation. So I think a lot of the first-time home buyers that were waiting out 2024 are starting to get up and go looking and start to put some offers in finally this year. I think they realize that things can't get much worse than they are. Things are probably going to get better, most likely. So they're a little confident in the economy and the way things are moving forward. So they're moving forward, putting offers in and putting their houses on the market as well.
All right, perfect. And how about you, David?
It's busy with the inquiries from, people that couldn't find a house last year. So refreshing pre-approvals. The first question is always, what's the rate today? What do the rates look like? But even right before this call, I had a young family. He was like, I have a 2.99% rate, but I have 4 kids now and I've outgrown my house. So I have to decide, do I want to take a home equity line of credit and build, which he really doesn't want to do and live through a build with the new kids, or bite the bullet, take a higher interest rate, and he's trying to find a house. So, which is very difficult also. So people are in a tough spot still.
Look, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. That's one of the things I want to make sure that everybody's very clear on. If you really want to do this, you find the right people that are going to guide you through the process and you can get it done. Again, it's not impossible. You just have to find the right people, be willing to listen, and be ready to do what your professionals advise you to do. So with that being said, we're talking about being comfortable with everything. I always tell my clients before we go looking at houses, the first thing we need to do is either have a consultation. We're meeting in the office, or we're meeting on some kind of Zoom, something like this, like we're doing right now. We have some kind of conversation. Either I'm doing it with myself and the client, or I'm doing this with the loan officer and the client. But it's always important that we have that face-to-face time, so we iron out basically what your wants are, what you're dreaming of, and just to make sure that what you're dreaming of is a reality out there and it can be done, and formulate the right plan for you and your family. And then the next thing that I'm usually doing with my clients is pretty much after we got the idea of where you want to be, how much your budget is, how much you're willing to pay, what you're comfortable paying monthly. The next thing that I'm doing with you is basically having you do your home. Who else are you going to have as part of your team when it comes to purchasing your home? And for me, that's very important for my clients to know exactly who they're working with. And that way, when they do find something that checks all the boxes for them, they're like, okay, great. This is the house that we want to put an offer in. We already have our attorney. We already have our loan officer. We hired our real estate agent. Now we have a home inspector and all the other people that we need. We built our team. We have our team. We know who we're working with. So we just got to focus on finding the right house, putting a competitive offer in, and basically moving quickly. Anything you guys want to add to what I just said right now when it comes to teamwork?
I see it every day. The right team means a lot. I can't tell you how many people I see have, especially on the attorney end. My uncle's an attorney, my wife's cousin, my sister. Are they a real estate attorney? No. So I see so many people get family members or their cheaper option for an attorney, and it's not a real estate attorney, and deals blow up. The problems are found more times than you could imagine, more lately than ever. These are coming up. And I have a lot of clients now where they've been pre-approved looking for a year and they don't want to use a realtor, and they're against the realtor. They're looking on Zillow, and by the time you see it on Zillow, it's gone. Please, let me give you a couple of realtors for where you want. And as soon as they decide that they want to work with the realtor, and funny enough, a lot of the times those clients are attorneys because they think they don't need the realtor. They could do it on their own. And as soon as they work with the realtor, it's magical how they find that house within weeks. It's unbelievable. And it always happens. So the right team is, as like you said, is amazing.
In my phone
And
says that
two, the right mortgage consultant, the right mortgage banker is important. We're not all made the same just because your cousin or your sister's brother is, doing it. We're not all equal. Each bank has different programs and guidelines. And even with the guidelines, there's an exception for everything. And you really know how to work the system. It's important.
And they speak on how important it is based to work with a real estate attorney.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself as to what Dave was saying before. I mean, when you go to a heart doctor, you don't ask them to work on your foot or vice versa. It's the same thing with an attorney. I do real estate. That's all I've ever done. I've seen, in my 10 years of practice, I've seen a lot of problems, big ones, small ones, whatever the case may be, but I've worked through them and learned how to get through those problems. So the next time it comes up, I'm well versed in that. A lot of attorneys think, oh, it's a residential real estate closing, no big deal. Yeah, no big deal until their client doesn't get a commitment. There's a title issue. There's something that comes up that they want to pull out and they can't because they drafted the contract poorly. There's a lot of issues that are hidden that they don't know about because they don't have the experience. So obviously getting a real estate attorney that's been doing this for a long time is always helpful. And I always say this, you pay for what you get for. You may go with a cheaper attorney. Oh, I offer this much for a closing. But don't be surprised if they don't give you customer service, they don't call you back, and you don't hear from them until it's time to close. Because I hear about that all the time. And a lot of times I'll be at the closing table and attorneys will be meeting their client for the first time. They don't even know what they look like. And I'm sure Evans and Dave have seen that before as well. So
I can attest to that. I think it's very important that basically you know who your attorney is, who your loan officer is, who your real estate agent is. You have to hire the right people. And obviously, if you don't have that person, you reach out to your agent, you reach out to your loan officer, you reach out to your attorney. And they have been working around the clock with a lot of different people. They can point you to the right direction. All right, this person might be a good fit for you. Obviously, you're going to feel it out, basically, and see if it works. And if it works, that's your relationship for the next couple of months. With the attorney is very important. Any professional that's in this chain, we're all together. We work as a team. And if you get an attorney, like Anthony said, if you get an attorney pretty much who does something else, it's very important basically to get your contract out as soon as possible, to have communication with the other attorney on the other side. If you're buying a house, if you're buying a condo or co-op, you need somebody who specializes in that. And somebody who does that basically part-time or not fully. They might do trial or they might be a union attorney. I'm not putting them down, but basically you want to go with somebody who specializes in this. And there's a lot of changes that happen in real estate all the time. So you want somebody who's well-versed with this and who has their finger on the pulse of what's going on. So it's really important to align yourself with the right people.
I can't tell you how many times I see they don't even read the title, right?
Yes.
They order the title at the end. They're at the closing table like, oh, there's a lien on the property. We didn't know about this. How did you not know about it? You had it for 45 days, 60 days. You never looked?
we needed a survey? Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Surveys expired from 1936? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I'm not going to go try a murder trial tomorrow either. I'm not a trial attorney. So I wouldn't even attempt it. But people have the stigma about real estate closings that they're easy to do. And
They're not.
They're not.
Especially here in New York. They're not.
Lucky and get one that has no issues, but there's a lot of nuance involved that people don't.
There is. I've been doing this for about 13 years. There is no clean deal where there's not going to be some kind of headache.
There's hair on everything, unfortunately. It's the way it is.
Hair on everything except for the top of my head right now. That's for the real estate. Because honestly, you're pulling your hair out. Because most of the time when people pick the wrong attorney or the wrong loan officer or the wrong agent on the other side, you could be bashing your head against the rocks when it could be a smooth process if the person took the time to interview, ask the right questions, and like, all right, this person seems to be on the ball. They do communicate. I do understand what they're saying. They explained it to me several times, and I do get it. And it's just basically they have a good track record talking to, communicating with the other professionals basically in this process. So that's what you want for whoever you hire. And remember, you are hiring somebody, and it's going to be a relationship for a couple of months. And hopefully when the deal closes, you're going to rehire that person for your next transaction. Because if it's your first time you're buying a home, this is your home for a couple, let's say 4 to 5 years, maybe 6, 7 years. You're probably going to get married. You're probably going to have kids, or the kids are going to move out. And that house probably doesn't suit your needs 10 years down the line. So you're going to need something else. If you're lucky enough to have your kids live in the house, they grow old, they leave, they go to college, they start their own lives. And now you earn that right basically to, okay, you know what, we're going to downsize. Maybe we're going to take the equity from this house, buy something in another state, take the extra money that we've made, the profit that we made on this, and start living our lives. Let's go travel. Let's go if you're like, going on cruises and stuff like that, you take that money, put that in another investment in another state, make that money make money for you as well. And somebody else had mentioned this, which I love this idea. If your kids are about to go through college, you purchase another property. Instead of you giving them money for whatever, you help them become homeowners when they're off in college. If you're going to another state, purchase a property, get something cheap nearby their wherever they're going
through
to
it
school.
now. It's a little tough. Every state has different rules on
Yes,
state tuition about buying a property, but it's a great idea.
it's a
South Carolina, Texas, Florida, you want to buy a property, and hopefully you could play the game right and maybe get that in-state tuition discount because these
all right,
kids
but
they want
listen
to
to
go.
this.
And
Have your
Yep.
kids' friends live as roommates and pay your rent for it.
That's
Right.
exactly where I was going with this. Basically, have the kids have their roommates pay them rent, and basically, boom, now they're homeowners. And obviously, they have the choice. Once they finish school, they can either keep the property for themselves when they get married or whatever the next stage in life is for them, or you keep that property as an investment property, and this starts basically one of your first or second or third homes that you own, and start building a portfolio for yourself and for your kids. Anything else you guys want to add?
Just to speak on the importance of having a mortgage broker and a real estate broker. I mean, people don't realize you need to get the mortgage broker that knows their products and can sit there and analyze your situation financially and tailor the right program for you. So he knows 99 times out of 100, you're going to get approved, you're going to get a commitment. You're not wasting 6 months trying to get an approval and it was for nothing. And he also knows the process, so he can hold your hand through that process because, the buying process and the legal stuff is stressful. But if you can't get the money, you're not doing anything. So that's having a broker like Dave help you out with that is tremendous as well.
I think another thing I want to add.
Time. Sorry, I'm going to say I've been
No,
doing
no,
this a
go ahead.
long time, and I get a lot of business from other lenders, right? So it's not so much all lenders are created equal. Maybe it's the individual, right? So I see people that get a pre-approval letter, and I'm like, that's great. And they see, look at the low rate. I said, that's terrific. Did you supply your tax returns or your income documents? No. So that pre-approval is not worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah.
Really, the work has got to be done up front. Talk to them, have your consultation, get the income documents up front to verify what they're saying. Not everybody knows. I think I make $500,000 a year, Mr. Self-Employed Borrower. That's not really what you make it's not your net income after your taxes and things. So you really got to dive into it, dive deep, and do the homework up front. And then the process is smooth. You can't wait for the end.
That's kind of what I wanted to jump into is pretty much the conversation that you're having with the professional that you decide to work with. You have to be completely honest with them because we're not mind readers. We can't know what you want without you telling us. So you have to literally put everything on the table so we can, give us everything that's going on. Let us know what's happening. So that way we can, all right, great. Based on what you're telling me, based on the evidence you're giving me here, the finances that you give me, here's basically some options that we can go down. And then you can make the right choice for you and your family, whichever works for you.
Yeah, I did that this morning with a client. They wanted to know what the process was. So I literally went through every step from contract negotiation to title review to closing. And I told them what their risks are, what the risks of the seller are. So there's no real oh, you didn't tell me this could happen. I lay it all out there for them. And they have to understand there's some risk involved on your side and there's some risk involved on the seller side or vice versa, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. So, but they understand that, knowing that my job is to protect them and reduce that risk as much as I can going forward.
And here's another thing I want to make sure the audience understands. If you don't understand something, don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. That's what we do all day long is answer questions. Ask the questions. If you don't get it, just let us know. Hey, I don't get this. I know you explained this to me again. Please explain it to me again. And we'll figure a way basically that we'll, break it down so you can actually understand what we're saying. And obviously, most of us, we use, the computer. We use all kinds of gadgets. Basically, we have a conversation. We record the conversation. We send it over to you. And if you need explaining again, that's what we're here for.
That's our value, I think, too, is kind of being able to explain things and educate our clients so they feel comfortable and trust us. If we can't get that point across, then I don't think you're not worth your salt. You know what I mean?
All right. The other thing I wanted to mention is basically you have to work with somebody you feel comfortable with. And that person and whoever's on that team, they have to be comfortable working with each other also. Because if you have one kink in the chain that's not working, then that's going to cost you money also. So I think, David, you have mentioned this before, cheap doesn't mean that it's going to work in your favor. If you decide I'm going to go with a cheap professional to do this because I'm going to save some dollars, At the end of the day, it doesn't save you dollars. You want to make sure that you always cash in your money in your bank. Why I'm bringing this up?
Keep that in
Oh
there.
my God, that's awesome.
Because
Look at
I'm a
all of
wrestling
that.
fan. I'm a wrestling fan, and so are these two gentlemen. So basically, this is why we get along. Obviously, we're professional. We love what we do, but we have to talk, in language that we can break it down for our clients. Now, I'm going to leave this up to both of you. Whoever wants to take this first. How do you cash in real estate?
What?
Wow. We met networking, the three of us, and wrestling, and we're out, and there's a million of each of us, realtors, attorneys, mortgage guys. But the wrestling was what the conversation, I don't remember how it initially came up, is what sparked the three of us to have a second conversation and keep it going. And at the end of the day, we all just want to be with people that we know, like, and trust. We got to be comfortable with each other. I met you once. I'm not referring you because I met you in a bar, but it took time. It took time for the three of us to build a relationship. It took a couple months for Anthony to remember my name or that he even knew who I was. But I got over that after we all were tight. And you see it as a client, and who wouldn't want to work with this, right? You got to be comfortable. And who wouldn't be comfortable with this team? You know what I mean? And it means a lot. I've seen deals where the realtors are fighting with the attorney and they're arguing and he said, she said, and it's not in the best interest of the client. And everybody's got to play nice in the sandbox and do the right thing.
I'm going to tie this into wrestling. Think of your team as a stable. You have to have a good stable. You're pretty much the manager, the client. You're the manager, and we're your stable when it comes to wrestling. So you want to have, your tag team champions. You want to have your main belt holder, basically title holder on your side. So basically think of us as that. So Anthony, how do you cash in as a client, basically, when it comes to real estate?
I cash in with my customer service.
I think she's staying at a customer.
A lot of real estate attorneys have assistants. They have other attorneys that do their work for them. I have a paralegal.
I think she's out of the house. Her aunt's
when you call my office, it's me. I'm very accessible to all my clients. They all have my cell phone number. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's the way it is, unfortunately.
They're always telling me that.
I haven't met a client that abuses it, so that's a good thing. I'm sure that'll happen eventually, but until that happens, I'm very accessible via email, text message, even on the phone. I'll take calls till 8, 9 o'clock at night. I try to be accessible to my clients. I mean, yesterday I have a client who was a buyer who signed a contract and had a check waiting. I went to her work and picked it up from her because she's a nurse and she's got a big, she's busy. She works long shifts, and I didn't want to, delay getting the contract out any further than I had to. So by me picking it up from her and getting it out today, I saved a day or two on getting it executed by the seller and kept somebody else from coming in and swooping in and taking the property from my client. It's little things like that that make a difference. And the broker I'm working with on that noticed that and is impressed by that because a lot of attorneys.
She's very impressed. I know exactly who you're talking about. She called me up. She called me up and, oh my God, this got great.
You get too big for their britches for that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know what? There's a million real estate attorneys out there, and I gotta stand out from some of them, and that's how I do that.
And it's very noticeable. Like I said, she's still crowing about this. She's called me at least twice. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that.
I got a fan out there apparently, so it's good.
Yeah, so you build fans. With me, basically, how do you cash in for your clients is pretty much just being accessible. And even if you don't have an answer, you build a team around you that can get them an answer. And one of the things I like to pride myself with my team is pretty much always answering, here's what's going to happen next. After we do this, once we do this, this is what the next step is. So it's not like it's always going to be a complete surprise. If something happens, because it's real estate, stuff does happen that basically we might not have experienced before. We're taking note, we're writing down and find out what the solutions are. We're going to get you the answer as soon as possible. If we don't have an answer, we're going to find an answer for you and give you some options, and then you can make a decision what you want to do. All right, so I'm looking at the time. Anything you guys want to close with? What's going on? What some stuff that you're seeing right now that buyers can choose? Don't do this and do this instead. Any sound advice you want to give any buyers right now?
I recently got a case came across my desk for it's regarding the property condition disclosure statement. Guy I'm representing bought the house in October. It closed, and somebody lied on the property condition disclosure. Said that there wasn't a material there wasn't anything materially wrong with the heat or the plumbing. Come to find out, apparently the heat hasn't been turned on in 13 years and the plumbing doesn't work. Don't know how that wasn't found, but in any event, he represented in the contract that everything was working, and he represented in the property condition disclosure that that there was no issues. All I say to sellers, if you're going to fill it out, be honest, don't lie. You're not going to get away with anything. All you need to do is just be honest, and you answer it to the best of your knowledge at the moment. You don't have to go ahead and do research. You don't have to go ahead and dig through files and that sort of thing. But at the same time, if you own a property, any reasonable person would know that whether the heat is working or not. So stuff like that is going to get you in a jam for sure.
Lying has been coming up a lot lately. So I had somebody, we pre-approved them, but I had the W-2s for 22 and 23, and I had 2 pay stubs that were a little older. And he goes, that's all I could find. So we pre-approved them, we put them through, we went into contract, they need the updated documents. It wasn't passing the sniff test. He was laid off, and he was interviewing for new jobs, which is okay, but it kind of delayed things a little bit. The loan didn't close on time, and I said, "What is happening?" He's like, "All right, I got to tell you the truth." I'm like, "That's great. I wish you would have told me a month ago. What's the truth?" I got laid off. That's why I don't have the updated pay stubs. Okay, are you finding yourself another job? I do. I should have an offer letter any day. And he did. He got the offer letter. We just have to wait for the first pay stub to come in. So we closed. It was a little delayed, but it could have been smoother where the realtor is getting frustrated, the seller is frustrated, the attorney. We don't really have an answer. If you just tell the truth, you can get you don't need to have executive, consistent jobs. You're allowed to be laid off. You're allowed to have an offer letter. You're allowed to close with 1 pay stub. It all kind of worked out. But just, be honest with us, and we can be forthcoming with you, and just kind of set expectations for everybody.
Yeah, it's not 35 years ago. You're not going to get away with anything.
Everything comes out in the light. Yeah,
everything comes out in the wash. Is that what they say?
Yeah, everything comes out in the wash. My thing, basically, for buyers, for sellers, is just you both kind of hit on it. Basically, just be honest. Give us the whole story. Don't give us half the story, because we can't help you. We can't better serve you without all the information. So give us all the information. The other thing, husbands, wives, brother, sister, whatever the combination is, whoever's buying, you have to be on the same page. What's your motivation? Is this the right time for you to do this? It is not just basically the price. It has to be basically, you have to be 100% into this. If you're going to do this, are you 100% committed to do this now? If so, let us know. Let's work with you. If not, that's fine. Just let us know in advance, basically, that we can put a plan together for when you are ready. We can get started then. But you have to be on the same page with, all the family members, whoever the decision makers are, whatever you want to do. Just be on the same page and just be open and honest with your team. Remember, we're here to help you. We can't help you if we don't have all the info. With that being said, I'm going to end this here. So, gentlemen, Anthony, you want to give them the contact info, how they can reach you if they have any questions about legal stuff?
Sure. You can call me at my office, 516-809-8483. You can call or text my cell, 631-94351. Email is acurcio@curciolawplc.com. And you can check me out on Instagram. Facebook's coming, and LinkedIn, Curcio Law.
And David?
You could find me at davegoldklang.com. You could imagine there's more than one David Goldklang out there. I was shocked when this came, but davegoldklang.com. It'll take you to my website. You can see about me. It has my cell phone number, my email, all my information. Again, always available, always around. You could, same thing, look up my Facebook, look at my Google reviews, and happy to just have a conversation.
And for me, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, pretty much all the social media platforms. I'm on them, even TikTok. And no, I do not dance. Stop asking me for that. Contact information. Well, I have all. I do, but not on camera. My phone's always with me. You can give me a call. Cell phone is 917-975-5985. Our website is mynyhomesales.com. You're probably either watching this video from that, or you got an email from us, or it's on the YouTube channel. Either way, we're always here to answer questions to help you out. If you're not ready now, that's fine. If you want to set something up, we can have a conversation when you are ready and get the ball rolling for you. If you're ready to do something ASAP, this year is the year that you want to get this done. Let's sit down and have that conversation. We'll do a face-to-face, or we can do something like this, something virtual, basically. But like I said before, all parties have to be involved. So it's your family wants to buy a property together, the family members, the decision makers, we have to either sit down and meet face to face or do it here on some kind of either Zoom or whatever device you feel comfortable with. Gentlemen, I'm going to end it here. You guys have the last words. Anything you want to say to our audience?
Looking forward to a successful and prosperous 2025. Let's do it,
Yeah,
Phil.
same here. It's going to be a good year. I can feel it.